Part 3 Cooking, Mistakes and Fixing Problems. Welcome back to Peet Podcasts. We're now at Part 3 of our episode about cooking dinner. In Part 1, we planned the meal. In Part 2, we prepared all the ingredients and started cooking. Now the food is in the pan, the rice is almost ready, and the kitchen smells amazing. But there's something you should know about cooking. Things don't always go according to plan. Sometimes the food takes longer than expected. Sometimes you turn the heat up too high. Sometimes you add too much salt. And sometimes you completely forget about something until you smell it burning. That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Let's continue with our dinner. The chicken and vegetables are cooking in the pan. I stir everything and take a quick look. The chicken looks good. The vegetables are getting softer. But suddenly, I notice something. The pan is getting very hot. The vegetables are starting to stick to the bottom. So I quickly turn the heat down. This is a very common thing in the kitchen. You don't always need to follow the exact same temperature. Sometimes you need to adjust it, depending on what's happening. If the food is cooking too quickly, turn the heat down. If it's taking too long, you might need to turn the heat up. Of course, you don't want to make a huge change. Small adjustments are usually better. I stir the food again. Luckily, nothing is burned. Everything looks fine. But now I realize that I have another problem. The chicken is almost ready, but the vegetables are still a little too hard. I don't want to overcook the chicken. So, what should I do? I could take the chicken out of the pan and let the vegetables cook for a few more minutes. That's exactly what I decide to do. I remove the chicken and put it on a clean plate. Then, I let the vegetables continue cooking. This is a simple solution, but cooking is often about making small decisions like this. You don't have to panic when something doesn't go exactly as planned. You just need to look at the situation and think, okay, what can I do now? That's a useful question in the kitchen. And honestly, it's a useful question in life too. Things go wrong. Plans change. Problems appear. Instead of immediately getting stressed, stop for a moment and think about your options. Back in the kitchen, the vegetables are almost ready. I taste one. They're soft, but they still have a little crunch. Perfect. Now I add the chicken back to the pan. I mix everything together. Then I taste the sauce. And here's another common cooking problem. It needs more flavor. Maybe a little more salt. I add a small amount. Then, I taste it again. Much better. This is why you should taste your food while you're cooking. You don't have to wait until the very end. If something is missing, you can fix it. But there is one important rule. Add a little at a time. If you add too much salt, it's difficult to remove it. So it's better to start with a small amount and add more if necessary. The same thing works with spices. You can always add more, but taking something out is much harder. Now, let's imagine something goes wrong. What if you accidentally add too much salt? Don't panic. There are a few things you can try. You might add more of the other ingredients to balance the flavor. Or you might add a little more water or another ingredient, depending on the recipe. The exact solution depends on the dish. But the important thing is not to give up immediately. Cooking is a learning process. You learn from your mistakes, and sometimes mistakes can actually teach you more than successful meals. Let's imagine another situation. You're cooking pasta. You put the pasta in the pot and walk away for a few minutes. Then you start doing something else. Maybe you check your phone. Maybe you answer a message. Maybe you start cleaning the kitchen. And then suddenly, you smell something. You think, wait a minute. You run back to the stove. The water is boiling over. Now you've got water all over the stove. You quickly turn the heat down. You move the pot, and you clean up the mess. Has that ever happened to you? Cooking requires attention. It's easy to become distracted, especially when you're tired. That's why it's a good idea to stay close to the kitchen when something is cooking. You don't need to stare at the pan every second, but you should check it regularly. Sometimes, a few seconds can make a big difference. Another common mistake is burning food. Maybe the heat is too high. Maybe you forget to stir. Maybe you're talking to someone and lose track of time. Suddenly, you smell something strange. You look at the pan and think, oh no, the food is starting to burn. If only a small part is burned, you might be able to save the rest. You can carefully move the food to another pan or plate without scraping the burned part from the bottom. But if everything is burned, sometimes there's nothing you can do. And that's okay. You'll learn. Next time, you'll pay more attention. Maybe you'll use a lower temperature. Maybe you'll set a timer. Maybe you'll stay in the kitchen. The important thing is not to become frustrated. Nobody cooks perfectly all the time. Even experienced cooks have bad days. Sometimes they make something that's too salty. Sometimes they forget an ingredient. Sometimes dinner just doesn't taste as good as they expected. That's part of cooking. Now, let's talk about another interesting part of cooking. Seasoning. Seasoning can completely change a meal. You might start with simple ingredients: chicken, vegetables, rice. But with the right seasoning, the food can taste completely different. You can use salt and pepper. You can add garlic. You can add herbs. You can use chili if you like spicy food. You can experiment with different combinations. But again, start small. You don't want one flavor to completely overpower everything else. Overpower is a useful word here. If one flavor is too strong, we can say it overpowers the other flavors. For example, the garlic is overpowering the dish. That means you can taste the garlic much more strongly than everything else. Another important part of cooking is texture. Texture describes how food feels when you eat it. Is it soft, crunchy, crispy, creamy, chewy? Different foods have different textures, and sometimes you want a combination. For example, maybe you want soft vegetables with crispy chicken, or creamy pasta with crunchy vegetables. Good cooking isn't only about taste. It's also about texture, smell, and appearance. That's why chefs pay attention to so many details. But you don't have to be a professional chef to enjoy cooking. You can simply experiment. Try something different. Maybe use a new spice. Try a new vegetable. Change the way you cook something. You might discover a combination you really like. This is one of the reasons cooking can be a creative hobby. You start with a basic idea, but you can make it your own. Now, let's return to our dinner. The chicken is cooked. The vegetables are ready. The rice is finished. I turn off the stove. I take a deep breath, and I look at the meal. It actually looks pretty good. But before I serve it, I want to taste it one final time. I take a small bite. I think about the flavor. It's good. The chicken is tender. The vegetables have the right texture. The rice is soft. And the seasoning is balanced. I'm happy with it. And honestly, that feeling is one of the best parts of cooking. You start with a few simple ingredients. You spend some time preparing them. You make a few decisions. Maybe you make a mistake or two. And eventually, you create a meal. Something you can actually sit down and enjoy. There's something satisfying about that. You can look at the food and think, I made this, and even if it's not perfect, you still did something yourself. That's a small achievement. Cooking can teach us patience. It can teach us attention. It can teach us how to solve problems. And sometimes, it teaches us how to laugh at our mistakes. Because not every meal is going to be amazing. And that's okay. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is to learn, enjoy the process, and maybe make something delicious along the way. So, dinner is ready. The food is cooked. The kitchen smells wonderful. And now it's time to sit down. But our episode isn't finished yet. In part 4, we'll finally sit down and eat. We'll talk about describing food, sharing a meal with other people, talking about how the food tastes, and what happens after dinner. And, of course, there's one final job waiting for us. Cleaning the kitchen. Because, unfortunately, the cooking might be finished, but the dishes aren't going to wash themselves. Thanks for listening to Peet Podcasts. If you're learning English, don't worry about understanding every single word. Listen again. Notice the expressions. Try to repeat a few sentences. And most importantly, use the language. For example, after listening to this episode, try saying, I usually cook. I like to add, I need to, I accidentally added too much. The food tastes. Simple sentences are enough. The more you use them, the more natural they become. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in part 4. Enjoy your meal and see you next time.